All right, today we are talking about transformations within the coordinate plane. First, I'd like to review what a transformation is. One type of transformation is a translation. Got a little winky smiley face here as my example. If we want to translate this, when you think of translating English to Spanish or Japanese to English, you want to do the same thing. You're saying the same thing just in a different way. So to translate this, it's going to be the exact same thing, just moved over, or maybe moved down, or moved up. So it's the exact same thing, it's just translated or moved to a different area. The next one is a reflection. When you think of a reflection, I think of looking in the mirror and seeing your reflection. One example of that is taking this and reflecting it or flipping it over so it looks opposite. You notice the winky is on the right hand side. Now it's on the left hand side. I can flip it this way also. So the smiley is on the top instead of the bottom. So a reflection is kind of like flipping it. And the last one we're going to talk about today is a rotation. When you rotate something, you keep a corner down and you rotate it, or turn it, move it up a little bit here. I can rotate it. So I can pick any corner I want to rotate my object. All right. Let's try this inside the coordinate plane. First, we have a rectangle in the coordinate plane, and we are going to translate this 6 units left. So I'm going to move 6 units to the left. The whole thing is going to move 6 units to the left, and I want to know where the new points will be. All right, so I'm going to move over 6 units. So I'm going to take A, and I'm going to go over left 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's my new point. I'm going to make it pink, actually. Stand out a little bit better. Okay. This is A, but because it's a new A and it's where it would be if we were to translate it, we're going to have a little hash mark. That little hash mark is called prime. So this point is read as A prime. Okay, D needs to move 6 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is D prime. All right, B also needs to move 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is B prime. And C moves also 6 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is C prime. If I very neatly connect those lines, I have the same shape, just moved over 6 units to the left. We call that translating the shape. Exact same thing to the left. All right, let's try another one. We are going to reflect. So this one, we are reflecting ABC, triangle, across the y-axis. Well, first I have to remember that this axis is the y-axis. So we want to go over the y-axis. Let's look again at our smiley face. If we're over here and we want to go over the y, we're going to flip it over the y. So we're going to do the same thing with our triangle. All right. So I'm going to go over there. When I reflect something, it's the same distance from that middle point. So our middle point here is going to be the y-axis. So my first thing I need to determine is how far am I from that y-axis? How far am I over? So I went over 1, 2 to get to my B. So that's 2 units. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go over 2 units. Now my arrows are just visuals for you. When I do it normally, I wouldn't put those there. But those are just visuals for you. Okay. So A is still going to be the same point, it's just going to be flipped on the other side. So I'm going to go over 2 units, 1, 2, and I'm going to go up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is A prime. B is going to go over 2, 1, 2. It's going to go up 1. And that is B prime. C is going to go over 4 because it is 4 over here. So I'm going to go 4 over the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it goes up 1. And that is C prime. If I connect them, it should look like the same triangle, but flipped over. Same distance away from Y, because I'm flipping over the Y axis. Okay? Let's try another one. This time we're going to flip over the X axis. We're going to reflect across the X axis. So again, we have to locate that X axis is this one right here, goes across. We're going to flip it over. So if I look again at my example, get my instructions out of the way here. If I look at my example, I'm going to flip it over using that X axis as my pivot point. Okay, so I have to see how far are we from the X axis. This Z is 1 away from the X axis, so it's going to still be 1 away, but the opposite direction. So 1 away on the same point here, the X, so I have Z prime. All right, Y was over 3, so I'm still going to be over 3. It's going to be in line here. And I'm up 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go down opposite 1, 2, 3. That is Y prime. All right, X is over here in this fourth quadrant here. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3 to the negative side. So I'm going to go over 3. And then I went up 2. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go down 2. And that is X prime. All right, when I connect these, ever so carefully, and I think I'm going to use my ruler to connect them. Make sure they're nice and straight here. When I reflect them, I notice that it's the same thing, just on the other side. All right, across the x-axis. All right, the last one, and what I think is probably the most confusing, is rotating. All right, this one is going to rotate 90 degrees. 90 degrees is straight, and a 90-degree angle is a quarter turn, like a quarter on the clock, quarter way around. And we're going clockwise, so I think of a clock, and a clock goes this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, around this way. So we're going to turn it this way. So it's going to turn, and it's going to end up down here. If I did 90, it's going to be here. 180 is 90 plus 90, so it's 2 90s. It would end up here. 3 90s would be at 270 degrees. I would end up on the other side. Okay. This one's only asking for 90 degrees. So I got to put my finger, remember when we rotate, we have to keep one corner down, and we're going to rotate. All right, so we're going to rotate about the origin. So on this one, I am going to put my finger down. Some of them that are out here, I'm still going to put my finger on the origin. Always on the origin, and I'm going to move it around. Okay, so the P is where I'm going to put my finger to rotate. So I got to visualize. If I rotate this, these two would end up down here. Okay. So I need to know where things are. P is going to be in the same place. So I am going to mark this again on the outside so you can see. This is P prime. And if I rotate this way, I have to visualize, if I rotate this line right here, and I'm going to go this direction, Q is going to be down from P now. So how many units is it from P to Q? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go down, because when I turn it goes down. I'm going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is Q prime. All right, this one is definitely a little bit trickier. I'm going to connect those. I'll go ahead and do that so I can see that line. From P to Q, Q also connects to R. So R is going to be across. So I'm going to see how far away R is. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to move over 3. 1, 2, 3. This is R prime. And then from R to S is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is S prime. And if you notice, we have the same shape, except now it has rotated 90 degrees clockwise. All right, that one's very tricky. Very tricky. All right, I have one I want you to try on the graph paper that I sent home with you. First thing that you need to do is you need to plot these points. Then you need to rotate it 90 degrees. This time it is counterclockwise. So if I think counterclockwise, that's opposite. Clockwise was this direction, so I'm going to go backwards. So let's think about this. If I start here, I'm going to go backwards. Think about where you're going to end up. This one's a little bit tricky, and it's okay if you don't understand how to do it, but I want you to try, and we will talk about it in class tomorrow. Please try on the graph paper that I gave you to rotate this triangle 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. All right, we will try it in class tomorrow.